Yes. All right, folks. Great to be with you. We're letting Erica know that we are ready to roll. So it's great to be with you. We have a fantastic person today. In fact, you're going to get a ton of value today, folks. Here's what you're going to learn. Get ready for this one. We're going to talk all about if you are in a position where you need a job, how can you get a job? How can you get noticed? In fact, hold up those two books if you don't mind, Chellie. These are great. So one is Get Noticed, Get Hired. Who needs a job? We might find somebody a job today. Seriously, go ahead, type in where you're from. Type in if you need a job, because we're going to get really practical here. And then what's the other one called? When in doubt, delete it. And tell us a little bit about that one.
So this one is my background was in journalism originally, and so it's based on the proofreader marks. And the concept is, what if proofreader marks for life? What would the edits for life look like? And so there's things that you should delete. There's things that you should move towards or away from. There's things that you should insert. There's things that you should begin. And then there's things that you shouldn't change just because an editor might want to change them. Some things are just authentically you, and you need to be able to stand for that too.
That is so good. Wow. Super relevant too, because, I just finished my book and the editor gave it back. And sometimes you feel like whatever the editor said is gospel truth, but in reality, you're saying keep some stuff. So let's talk about that right now. There's people who are watching this. And again, folks, go ahead, type in where you're from. We're going to be giving away some fantastic prizes. We're going to be giving away Writer Academy Elite, which is a month-long subscription service that's all about how to get your book done. So a lot of you are working on books. If you have a book, go ahead, type in what title your book is called. We're also going to be giving away something called Engagement and Influence. It's a fantastic 30-day program that teaches you how to increase your online engagement and influence and really fast track your online communication and connection. So we have Robert all the way here from Texas. Hey, Robert's going to be the only one who wins today because he's the only one who's posting. Sandy's here. Sandy just said mic drop with you, what you just shared. So now let's talk, Chellie. There's people right now all over this planet that their jobs that they thought were secure, they're gone. Talk to us, Coach Chellie here.
Yeah, I mean, this is really kind of an unprecedented time. Right before COVID came about and that kind of thing, we were really in a place of where unemployment wasn't that big of an issue. If you wanted a job, you could find one, and most people that wanted one had one. And so it was harder for people making transitions and things to find those jobs now. Now it's kind of switched, and because of the impact that this has had on small business and even on some major corporations, you have a lot of people that are flooding the market looking for things right now.
It's overcrowded.
Yeah, it's really crowded. And they're even saying we're looking at upwards of like 25-30% unemployment by the time this all kind of settles out. And the number of people that are on unemployment right now and that kind of thing are all going to be hitting the market again at the same time. And so really, the value in what you can do right now is use this time to really figure out how to set yourself apart from everyone else. In my book and that kind of thing, what I teach is I talk about creating your career brand. How do you want to be noticed? How can you set yourself up so that you stand out from all the other people that are applying for these same positions?
That's good. So how do you stand out? I mean, that's probably one of the questions that you get the most, the magic question. I'm looking here at some of the comments. We have Virginia, Roberts, and again, folks, another Robert has arrived. We have two Roberts, the battle of the Roberts. But seriously, like, there are people who will maybe get jobs even on this live stream. Like, it's amazing the connections that can happen. Someone says, so let's make this be fun here for a moment, folks. If you know someone who needs a job, tag them. They're going to get gold here in the next few minutes. Dana's here from Boston, Massachusetts. And if you're someone who wants a job, tell us your unique selling proposition. Like Let us know what you have. And you might be absolutely surprised at what happens here in the next few minutes. So, Chellie, how do you get noticed?
So, there's a lot of different ways. We're in a very digital world right now. And so if you haven't worked on your digital profile and that kind of thing, what's the first thing you do when you meet someone, whether it's a business person
Google.
or whether it's you Google them, or either you go to Facebook and type their name in and see what they're all about. And the business world is no different. So when someone gets your information, or when you meet someone at a networking event and that kind of thing, the first thing they're going to do if they're interested is come back home or pull out their phone, put your stuff in and go, oh, are they what they say they are? Does it match what I heard? Are there red flags everywhere that, oh, maybe they talk a good game, but that's not really who they are.
Yes.
So, I really encourage people to take some time and make sure that all of your platforms, whether because a lot of people think, oh, I just need to have LinkedIn up here because that's the business platform that everybody goes to. But, real hiring managers and recruiters don't just stop there. They go, they're going to check your Facebook. They're going to check your Instagram. They're going to see if everything is consistent across the board. And, some of what people don't really think about is, and I was telling Kary earlier before we started, I was actually doing some interviews this week and today. And so one of the things I look for is, how does that person communicate? That's one of the soft skills that, that hiring managers and people look for all the time is, can they communicate? Can they communicate effectively with other customers, other coworkers, supervisors, whatever position that you put them in. So if your posts are full of misspellings and slang and, things that make you like, did they really graduate from high school or not? Then, it's a red flag for people.
Or here's, here's me with beverages that, in places I shouldn't be. Like, in other words, how many times do you see that?
In the book that the Get Noticed, Get Hired, we talk about there's more and more, like there's at least 50% of the hiring managers say in one of the human resource studies that came out that they have actually declined an interview from someone because of what they found on their profiles.
Wow.
And the major things at that point in time were photos, that were inappropriate or a little risque or whatever.
Sure.
Language, obscenities and things like that they were filled with those kind of things. And then, the third one that people don't think about so much is, especially if you've been laid off or you've lost a job or you've quit a job, is people who rant about their old boss or their old workplace. Ooh, because they figure if you're going to do it there, you would do it here with where, like where you're looking at being. So those are the top three things that people look for in your online profile. And what has actually kept 50% of the people that might have actually got an interview from actually getting an interview.
Whoa. Folks, let's hear some action over here. By the way, welcome Joan from Sacramento. Again, if you just joined us, we're going to be giving away some fantastic prizes. By the way, I see Janet Black on the line. I have me interviewing you a little bit later today at 3:50 p.m. Eastern, 350, just FYI. But we're talking to Chellie, and Chellie, hold your book up one more time. I know you have two of them. Get Noticed, Get Hired, and then when in doubt, delete it. And this is Chellie Phillips. Let's put your website. What is your website, my friend?
ChelliePhillips.com.
Love it. Super smart branding even right there. So we'll put that in here in a moment. But you're saying that your social media has to match. Now, here's a question. I know what someone's going to say, but I don't have social media. And maybe they say that's a good thing, like as in, but I'm not on social media. Is it good if you can't find anything about?
It's actually a big red flag.
Oh, okay. So if you're not on LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, if people cannot find you, that's actually a red flag.
That's actually a red flag these days. And you don't have to be on every platform. That's the thing that I want people to know is that you don't have to have an account in every space that's out there. If you're totally career minded and you don't want to get in all the social drama that comes with some of the other sites and things like that, focus on LinkedIn. LinkedIn and Google have a great relationship with each other. And so if you Google people, you will normally see that their LinkedIn profile is one of the things that comes up on the highest in the search. and there's an algorithm that's there, and the two like each other, and they help kind of cross populate each other and that kind of thing. So if you're not into social media for the social side of it, focus on your LinkedIn, your career side of it, and make sure that it's putting out there all the things that make you unique, the things that, why your skills are important to that business. And one of the things I tell people a lot is, finding a job is a game of selling yourself.
Yeah.
Just like we sell our books and we sell our products and that kind of thing. This is the one time that, you need to forget that your mom said you weren't supposed to talk about yourself, that it's bragging or whatever. And you can do it in a way that's not boastful or over the top or whatever, but you really need to not be afraid to put out there what you have to offer a business or an organization now.
So good. Wow. Love it. So, good news. Joan said, "Oh my gosh, I love the book. I just bought it out. I look forward to reading it." So good for her. But again, this is some tough stuff to hear. But you rather your friend tell you the truth. Robert Jones says, "I guess I should change my profile pic," and he's got a beverage that he's drinking. Like, here's the thing: you don't have to change anything. Like, people realize all the time, like, well, I'm not going to change who I am. That's fine. But you know what? Just be prepared for the results. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, and that's kind of the message in the other book too. I mean, if there is something that is uniquely you're never going to be convincing any other way around. So what you need to do at that point in time is to find out what it is about you that you can really focus on that becomes the selling point versus, maybe, I worked with a lot of sorority women that were leaving college.
Okay.
And as well as I know that, college days are the time of experimentation. A lot of them had, pink and purple hair, or they had, piercings, or they had whatever. And this day and time, things are a little bit more tolerated than maybe they were when I graduated from college or whatever. But it's still about whatever image that you want to put forth. You need to really do some investigating on what I call the corporate culture from where you're going. Some businesses and some organizations are a lot more open to certain personality traits and certain things, and some carry a more conservative outlook on things, and that's what they look for when they're finding people to work for them. Neither is right nor wrong. It's just what that company or that organization is looking for at that particular time. You can still be you, and you can still be authentically you and enjoy the things that you do, without having, to give up what is your personality. What you need to do is focus on showing that organization, I bring these skills, I bring this demographic, I bring this mindset to that organization, and show them how that benefits them. Show them why they shouldn't be afraid of someone that might have, different colors in their hair or whatever, or not hair at all, like Kary, it can go either way. And like I said, it goes back to you being able to sell you. Yeah. When we were doing the research for the book and everything, hiring managers and recruiters really only give you about 7 seconds on your resume or your cover letter. So you being able to sell you and be convincing in what you put in front of them in those first few minutes is really what's really important. And so when you focus on your branding, just like we focus on our branding for our books and for our programs and things like that, you, again, are the product that you're trying to put out there, and you just have to make you the irresistible offer for them.
So good. I love it. So let's talk about how people can find out more about you, because you are someone who right now is highly sought after. In other words, you're someone who's helping these literally millions of people that are unemployed right now. Part of it's confidence. Like, I know a guy who's been working for a company for 19 years, was called and told at the end of this call, you no longer have access to your email. We are relocating. You're done. I mean, I don't care who you are. That's going to rock your confidence. So,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
It really does. And, especially right now, this time, more and more of the clients that I've picked up have been people that either had job offers that were waiting for them, and then COVID hit and that business, is in a hiring freeze now, or they've decided because they realized, this remote work thing works okay, maybe we're going to downsize and not have these offices anymore. And so we won't need the people to staff them and do the things that we needed to do. So that's a big deal right now. Even people that have long-term histories with a lot of companies are facing these same kind of things that, you thought, after 10, 15 years, you think you're, okay, I'm kind of safe where I'm at. I'm looking towards retirement now. This is something that I'm investing, in me here. The company has invested to keep me here this long. So you forget that throughout your career, that you really should be documenting and keeping up with what you actually have accomplished. I tell everybody that you should have an ongoing resume, not that you're actively seeking. Don't, any bosses out there, don't freak out if you hear me telling your employees that they need to have an ongoing thing. But it really does, every year when it comes time for evaluations or it comes time for whatever, you need to make a note of these are the things that I've accomplished this year. Wow. Because each year you're going to stack that value in that resume so that if it ever comes that you need it, it's right there and ready for you. The thing that I'm seeing a lot today is that people haven't prepared for it because this is something that's so unexpected and it cost them, caught them out of left field. Oh, yeah. And so people are kind of scrambling. If you haven't looked at your resume in 5, 6, 10 years, now I've got to go back and figure out what have I done? What certifications have I got? What, how have I increased the bottom line here and by what percentage? Or how did I, improve the safety hours? Or how did I do all of these kind of things? So, one thing I really encourage people to do is if they're facing that right now, or they feel that they could be facing it in the next couple of months, because, we're really not sure when this is going to go back to normal. Yeah. And a lot of people I talk to say we might never go back to what we thought of as normal again. And so be thinking about it and start making that list, because you'll be afraid, you'll start thinking about it one day and you'll come up with 4 or 5 things, and then you'll be laying in bed and you go, oh, I should have put that on the list because it came back to you, or you're in the shower, or you're doing whatever. So just go ahead and start making that list and have it ready for you. And then if you need it, it's not like you're trying to scramble and pull it all together. And then that'll help your calm and your stress because you know that you've got the stuff you need to start making that first pitch, that first effort to get back out there. And again, and it's really different for someone that hasn't searched for a job in the last 10 years. Like if you haven't been in the market in the digital age, it's not the same as it was when we used to pull out the newspaper, circle the classified ads, make a phone call or drop something off at somebody's office. This day and time, it is a lot about connections, getting that foot in the door somehow. And, digital connections are almost as good as in-person connections. And your first person connection, say you and I, we know each other personally. That's a first person connection. But you might actually know somebody that's looking for somebody that you could connect me with that you never did. And more jobs come from those second and third degrees that somebody heard about somebody from somebody else that actually gets you a foot in the door versus, then actually those first person connections actually do. So being open and helpful and, not hoarding, just because I don't need this job. Tell your friends about it. They may be needing it too. So
absolutely. I think you're right on. I think that there's people who need answers. So we have someone like Karen. And again, Erica, reach out to Sonia because she's my next person, if you don't mind. Want to make sure we get her. But answer this question for us, Chellie. Can you talk about upping skills to get more opportunities? Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, I'm going to approach it from 2 different ways because I'm not 100% sure what she's asking. So one thing, if you need to build skills, because maybe it's been a while since you've been looking and there's some things that you need to brush up on, whether it's certain softwares or things like that, there's tons of programs out there right now. Online learning platforms like LinkedIn Learning, lynda.com, Udemy, all these kind of places that you can actually get certifications and certificates showing that you understand and are proficient in these softwares and that kind of things. So if that's what you're looking for, there's a lot of options out there. And a lot of people right now, because of what's happening in the world, are offering, you can take courses for free because they're trying to help people, get back, get their feet back under them again and do these kind of things. Of course, they're promoting themselves too, but take advantage of it. If you can take a course for free and then you can add that to your resume that I have the certification, whatever, it totally makes you more employable than someone who doesn't have it. On the flip side of that, if you're talking about upping your skills and, like people skills, or you're talking about leadership, or you're talking about team building, or those kind of things, one of the things I would tell you to do is get involved and volunteer. A lot of people don't list their volunteer experiences and things like that. But if you're managing the books for a nonprofit, or you're planning events for a nonprofit, or, or you're doing their social media, trying to build up their audience or different things like that, all of those are marketable skills. And you can actually claim that as experience, years of experience. A lot of jobs say I need 3 to 5 years experience, or I need 7 years of experience, or whatever. Don't discount that time just because it might not have been paid time. And I'll give you another quick tip on that. LinkedIn offers you a place to be able to put your volunteer experience and things like that. Hiring managers say that's one of the least utilized places on LinkedIn. And a lot of them look in that area because even if it's not a skill that they're looking for, they look to see that you're doing something with your time, that you're involved in the community, because people that are involved are more apt to be happy, productive employees too.
Wow. Love it. Love it. Well, Chellie, tell us, I'm on your website right now, and you basically have all kinds of things available, but you have a free 30-minute strategy session. So for some of these people that are asking, maybe, Karen, maybe Robert, others who've joined us, they can literally go to your website. You have limited spots available, but you'll chat with them.
Absolutely. I would love to. Feel free to fill out the form. It's super easy, just a couple quick questions, and we can schedule a time. And I'm glad to walk through some of the things that you might be facing and offering you some tips and suggestions to get you started.
Awesome. Well, listen, folks, hold those books up one more time. People are buying some of them right now. Get Noticed, Get Hired. And what's the subtitle on that one?
The Essential Guide for Successful Job Seekers Who Want to Leverage Social Media in Your Job Hunt, Become a Rockstar Networker, and Stand Out in the Sea of Candidates.
That is gold. Those are benefits. And then give us the other one, the subtitle.
So when in doubt, delete it. It's 36 life-changing edits that will add more clarity, success, and joy to your life.
Fantastic. Well, Chellie, this was great. Again, we're going to pop up your website online here. And whoever gets those 30-minute sessions, that's great. And thanks for helping people that are right now, unemployed or in transition. I know that that's a big weight over a lot of people's heads right now.
It is. It adds so much to your value as a person, and the way that you feel about yourself, and the way that you just approach life. If your career is solid, your family's solid, those and your faith is solid. Those are the 3 trifectas.
Yeah. So. Awesome. All right, my friend. You take care. We'll be in touch.
All right. Thanks, Kary.